If you've been a dungeon master for any amount of time, the thought may have crossed your mind to write your own homebrew campaign. I know for me, that was one of the first things I did. I actually ran a homebrew campaign before I ever ran a pre-published module, and I have a few tips on how to do that. Before getting into it, subscribe if you like to. First, you're going to start with the end in mind. What does the final encounter with the big bad evil guy look like? Will the players be storming a dragon's lair, or will the villain be forced to reveal themselves and bring themselves to the players? Decide what the goal of your big bad is, and what the world will look like if they succeed. You'll work backwards from this outcome to write the other major plot points down to the adventure hook at the very beginning of the game. This is the outline of your adventure. 2. Give your players a compelling reason to embark on the adventure in the first place. And I'm not just talking about the promise of treasure. Gold and magic items can be very alluring, and they're wonderful motivations for your players, but give them a problem that only they can solve. This is what makes a good adventure hook really stick, and it should translate all the way through the adventure until the final encounter with the big bad, meaning that the player characters are the only ones equipped to actually deal with the big bad. NPCs can help, but craft your adventure in such a way that NPCs need the player's help. 3. Break down the campaign into parts. These chapters or phases will give your adventure manageable chunks. Each one will be an arc within the whole campaign that has its own major plot points and outcomes. These chunks should be created from the smaller goals of the big bad that lead up to his ultimate goal. This also gives you checkpoints in writing the whole campaign. If nothing else, chunking your adventure gives you a framework to work with so you're not overwhelmed when it comes to writing an entire adventure. 4. Limit the number of notable NPCs to a dozen or less. Again, this will help you avoid being overwhelmed when you're writing and running the campaign. Sometimes less is more, and you can probably get away with one notable NPC as a sort of quest giver to the players that also acts as a help to them. If it happens that your characters end up talking to Boblin the Goblin instead of the NPC you designed and created, just switch those characters' motivations and intentions over to Boblin the Goblin and make him that NPC. It is minor railroading, but you do have to keep players on track somehow. 5. You don't have to finish writing all the details of the campaign before you can start playing. And by details, I mean things like maps, mapping out specific encounters, calculating challenge rating for those encounters, and those kind of details. You just need to prepare enough for the next session, so if the campaign isn't detailed all the way through, that's okay. Writing a campaign is a tall order, and it can be really easy to feel like you'll never get around to actually playing it. So, write your outline, detail the first chapter, and start playing.